Well, I think we're ready to get started, Wendy.
Awesome. Yes, welcome everyone to Healthy Together Time. My name is Wendy Morris. I'm a certified Optavia coach. Excited to be on with you guys tonight. We are going to just kick off this Healthy Together Time with a reminder about what our 4 components are. Our 4 components are a big part of our program, obviously the 4 pillars and the foundation part of our program. And whether you've heard about them or not, we're going to review them because it's such an awesome opportunity we have going into the new year to remember that there are 4 parts of our system here and each hold equal weight. So of course, everyone in Optavia gets an independent Optavia coach. This is an awesome guide to your resources and someone to kind of just cheer you on, link arms with, and stay accountable to. Our second component is our Habits of Health transformational system. This is where the magic happens. This is where we not just make the changes for right now and get to that goal weight, but we learn the habits and we have the transformational component in our mind that takes place. So love Dr. A for creating our Habits of Health. The third component is our Optavia community. That's where you are right now. We are like-minded people trying to grow in our health, in our healthy mind, and our healthy body, and healthy finances. This is where it's at. This is how you become like the people you spend your time with, right here. And then finally is our scientifically designed fuelings. This is our fueling technology that helps us maintain our blood pressure, right? Our blood glucose levels, things, and just keeps us in our healthy body. So with the review of the 4 components, we are ready to kick it off and turn it over to Krista for our Ocean of Emotion tonight.
Thank you, Wendy. With the new year just around the corner, I'm taking a good look at how I'm plugging into all 4 of those components. Like she said, my name is Krista Pace. I'm an independent certified Optavia coach, and tonight we are going to dive deep into the ocean of emotion. Are you guys ready? So with the holidays, many of you may already feel like you are swimming in emotion. You could just raise your hand, right? All kinds of emotion. Do you feel that you are riding the waves with confidence? Or do you feel like you're drowning a little bit? Well, I hope tonight to give you a few tools to help you navigate your emotions, for I truly believe that just as the ocean is considered to be the heart center of the earth, with a circulatory system of rivers and streams moving water and nutrients across its surface, our emotions are our heart center, a center of intelligence with a designed system of flow. We can learn to access the heart center of intelligence along with the mind center, our thinking, and the gut center, our instinct. It's pretty fun. So let's go. So to help us begin, I love this quote by Gregory David Roberts. We carry oceans inside of us, in our blood and our sweat, and we are crying the oceans in our tears. Now we know that our bodies, like the earth, are composed mostly of water. Healthy hydration is a macro habit of health for a reason. So following this metaphor of the ocean of emotion, I want to ask each of you, are you emotional? And even more than that, are you mostly composed of emotions? Is there a proper flow to your emotions? Are you flourishing as you fully express emotion? Or are there dams and blockages causing flooding in a certain area? Do you have some stinky, stagnant swamps where there is no flow? Maybe you are experiencing a drought in a particular area. If you could rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how emotional are you? Feel free to throw your number in the chat. It'd be really fun to see how emotional we all think we are. We have some 4s, some 3s. Yeah, right? I think a lot of us are probably under 5. Ooh, I see a 10. That's fantastic, Melissa. So great. Well, understanding that emotion is just energy in motion, I invite you to tap into your body right now. What physical sensations are you feeling? Since there's an ocean with emotion particles inside of you, what do those particles look like? Are they bubbles? Are they barnacles or fish or seaweed? Where are they congregating? What are they doing? Can you match an emotion, a one-word emotion, to those particles, those sensations in your body? What I love most about sitting on the beach as waves come and go is that for those moments, I just enjoy the waves. I actually don't think of why the tide is coming in the way it is. I don't think of the different pressure systems, the wind, the pull of the moon, or any of those scientific reasons behind the waves. I just feel the waves. I just enjoy them. What if we did this with our emotions? Instead of trying to examine and change our thoughts as soon as we experience an uncomfortable emotion, what if we first allowed the emotion to pass all the way through our bodies? What if we could appreciate our bodies and the uncomfortable emotions for the wisdom they afford? With this in mind, let's consider for just a moment the differences between our mind center with our thinking and our heart center with our emotions in relation to living above and below the line as discussed in element 4 of the life book. Here we have our line with the dreaded drama triangle beneath and the empowerment dynamic above. Dr. A talks about this all in element 4 of the life book. It's one of my favorite elements. We recognize that being above the line is being open-minded and curious with a growth mindset, and below is being defensive and right with a fixed mindset. I want you to notice the word mindset. This paradigm represents the view from our mind center of intelligence. We know that thoughts create emotion, and so many of us quickly move to thought work when we feel an uncomfortable emotion. And it makes sense that we would want to do this. Working on our thoughts is a smart and acceptable thing to do in society, right? Leaders are praised for being forward-thinking or thinking outside the box and being open-minded. These attributes are attractive. Well, sometimes I think this thought work is kind of like studying the wind, the scientific why behind the emotion. And as much as I study and understand the science, I feel pretty powerless in my current mortal existence to do much to change those waves of the ocean. How often do you try to change a thought or try to change your emotion because an uncomfortable emotion comes up, and then you find that changing that thought doesn't always work, or you're coming up short somewhere? Happens all the time, right? Well, there's another layer of this paradigm. It is the layer from the heart center of intelligence. All emotion can exist below and above the line. Below the line, we repress, recycle, and retain emotion in judgment. This is where we see drought, floods, and swamps, right? Above the line, we find allowance, acceptance, and appreciation for all emotion. This is where we see flow. Just as thought work is a shift move where we examine the causes of emotion, emotional processing is the shift move that helps us receive the wisdom from our bodies that guides us in that examination. See, I believe that finding the root thought of a particular emotion requires first the processing of that emotion. So if you are trying to change your thoughts while repressing your emotion, it's not going to work. It's almost as hard as changing the direction of the ocean waves. You are doing things out of order. We must first process the emotion, receive the wisdom from our bodies, and then do the thought work. This sounds great, right? Well, the problem is that processing emotion does not always feel safe, and from my perspective, is not as widely accepted in society. From a young age, we are encouraged not to be a crybaby or to be tough. When people show emotion, the common question is, what's wrong with them, right? What if these scripts could be flipped? What if we began to see the strength in the tears and the beauty in those split punching bags? What if we found learning from the fear and the creativity from our sexuality? What if we believed that expressing emotion was a sign of intelligence? Before we can improve our emotional intelligence and see our heart center from a higher perspective, we need to become emotionally literate. How often do you ask someone how they feel and you hear the response, "Oh, I feel like I need a nap," or "I feel that I ate too much Christmas pie"? Did you notice we heard a couple really interesting thoughts, but no feelings, no emotions? How often do you give a thought when asked for a feeling? Often I think the thought is what's expected. If you want to have some fun, the next time somebody asks you how you feel, just say, "I feel sad," or "I feel angry." It's a great conversation starter. But just as it takes work to learn to read a book, it takes work to learn to read our bodies. Have patience with yourself as you begin to feel and notice your emotions. Just like with our thoughts, most of us are located below the line with our emotions most of the time. Anytime we buffer or delay feeling an emotion, we're below the line. This is a space where we seek security, approval, and control. In a society that views emotion as weakness or unacceptable, it makes sense that many of us prefer to process emotion in a safe place. So just know it's okay to be below the line for a time. It's actually part of the process. But as we become more conscious of our emotions and our desires to be the dominant forces in our lives, we will recognize that there is value in shifting above the line to process emotion before the repressed or recycled emotions harden into a mood. You see, below the line, anger, if left there too long, can become resentment and bitterness. Sadness can become apathy. Fear becomes anxiety. Joy becomes denial. Sexual feelings become lust. What if instead of always buffering emotions until a tsunami or emotional breakdown wipes us out, we had a micro habit of processing the little emotions throughout our day? Children are really good at this. I love this picture of my son. He smiled for this picture, but it's very clear that he is processing some sadness despite that smile. We adults are too good at masking and buffering our emotions. Could we process just a little sadness without the tears? Could we process a little anger without punching a wall? If we processed emotion more regularly, we still may have our tsunami once in a while, but we might find that most often our emotions are just little waves that come and go, just like you're sitting on the beach, right? They come and they go. So I thought it would be fun tonight to process a little emotion with you. My oldest son, Mason, is turning 18 tomorrow. So exciting. Next year, he will be leaving on a church service mission for 2 years, at which time another daughter will likely go to college. My days of having all of my children at home are coming to an end. Now, I have many thoughts about this, and I have judged all of those thoughts. But tonight, I've invited my sister Wendy on to help me process what my body is feeling. So, Wendy, do you want to hop off mute?
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so Krista has kind of given some thoughts that we about her situation here. So we're going to keep those thoughts in the mind center. We're going to go straight to the heart center. We're only going to talk about the emotion today. So Krista, I want you to name the core emotion you are feeling about Mason turning 18.
You know, I have been processing this for a while, and I'm still in my process. But I would name it sadness. I have sadness.
Okay. Tell me where this sadness is in your body. Can you locate it in your body?
So sadness for me starts in my heart. It feels like this heaviness in my chest, but then it radiates up my neck into the back of my eyes.
Awesome. Do you think you can use an ing word to kind of describe the movement of this emotion?
Yes. So if I had to describe this, it would be this. There's this heavy, warm, pressurized water that's pressing or fighting to be released through my way too small eyes, just gushing. This pressing, gushing, fighting is how I would describe it.
Awesome. Okay, I want you to take a deep breath with me. And as we breathe, I want you to breathe in deep and through this sensation. But as you breathe, I want you to match it with a sound or a movement in your body. See if you can match it with some kind of noise or fluctuation with your hands, or however it feels natural to you. See if you can match it with a movement or sound.
So I would say like, that's what it feels like to me. It's like this pressure coming up and out, just like that.
So good. So good. Now, our final step in this is listening for the wisdom of this emotion. As we know, all emotions give us wisdom, something to learn from. So if you were to sit with yourself for just a couple of seconds after processing this emotion, what's the wisdom here?
You know, normally I would sit with my sadness for about 90 seconds and just be okay that it was there. I would just allow the flow of energy to complete. But today I'm going to jump below the line for just a bit so we can finish tonight. But I'd love to share the wisdom that processing this sadness specifically has helped me to understand. So sadness is a core emotion that allows our bodies to feel that something needs to be let go of or mourned. Processing this emotion, I'm noticing my body is in mourning. Like I am mourning my son's childhood. I am mourning that the phase of life where all my children are home is coming to an end. Without judgment, my body is mourning. Just as my body wants to let go of this pressurized water that's coming out of my eyes, I want to let go of my son so he can fly. He is going to be a huge force for good in this world. And I appreciate so much the opportunity to grieve this change as I welcome the joy of new life. You can feel it, can't you? Can you just feel my emotion? Like it flows as I recognize the wisdom that sadness brings to me. And I am so appreciative for that wisdom. You may find that there are many shades of all emotions, and anger is no exception. Anger is often a layered emotion, meaning that processing anger can help you uncover other emotion that wants to be processed. Processing anger or receiving the wisdom of what is no longer serving you or others, or what wants to be stopped, changed, or ended, may uncover some fear or some sadness. Processing anger allows you to receive wisdom from your body that leads to change. Fear is another important emotion. Why are we so resistant to fear, you guys? Have you ever heard the phrase, do it scared? I know this phrase helps us get into action, but retaining fear, keeping it around while you're doing something is still below the line, which again, is totally okay. And I'm sure we've all gotten things done while feeling fear. But what if instead of being afraid of fear and telling yourself fear is bad because if you have faith, you are better, what if we embraced fear? What if we processed the fear? What if we honored our bodies for waking us up a bit and letting us know that there is something we need to learn? Now, sure, you can still get into action before you learn that particular thing, but maybe processing the fear first could help you just do it, right? Instead of doing it scared. It takes practice to remove the shame from fear. There's a common scripture that I love that says, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. And I believe this to be true, but my brain, knowing my brain, I'm constantly shaming myself for not being prepared when I feel fear. Instead of allowing the fear to show me a course of correction that would help me prepare. Now, joy. Processing joy helps us recognize that there is something to be celebrated. Can we just feel some joy here together? Let's celebrate that we are all here learning and growing together. We made it tonight, you guys. In this current crazy world, let's celebrate that we created this space to become the dominant forces in our lives together. Notice where you feel joy in your body. Locate it, describe it, breathe and express it. Feel free to give a shout and just get up and dance if you'd like. Nobody's watching. It's so fun. Or we can all watch each other. Let's just dance, right? And then finally, now on to the sexual emotion, that creative energy and motion that's within each of us. I believe that sexual emotion stems from a deep power within each of us to create. We are meant to be creators, but this, like any talent or skill, must be developed. Just as our physical bodies have to go through changes to enable procreation, growing into our powers of creation requires growth physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and even financially. I believe one of the reasons that we see so much sexual crime and lust in this world is that though people unconsciously grow physically in this area, they have not consciously chosen to continue this growth in the other ways. Many stay below the line sexually their entire lives. Interestingly, crimes of lust, buffers of pornography, and sexual addiction limit creative capacity and ability. Lust is the recycling of sexual emotion, not the expression of such. How often do you notice that we suppress sexual emotion? As a mother of a 17-year-old boy, and yes, I'm waiting until tomorrow to say he's 18 for emotional reasons, but I can understand some of the thoughts of why suppressing sexual emotion would be taught or chosen. Most of which thoughts lead to the emotion of fear. But what if we could help our children understand their sexual emotions in a way that they recognize them for what they are and teach them to express them in a way that allows them to receive and appreciate the wisdom from that emotion? And no, this does not mean they have to engage in sexual behavior. Often these emotions can be expressed with simple movement and sound, just like the other emotions. We can encourage creation in all areas of their life as they begin to develop this creative power. For my son, the piano has become a great resource for him to begin to create in his life. But perhaps before we talk about helping our children, we should consider how we feel about our own sexual emotion. And for this, I want to go into the bedroom for just a moment. I promised you a little deep water, and I just want to deliver on that promise. One of the most powerful creative abilities that we have when we have chosen to be in a sexual relationship with another is the power to create together in love. This power not only creates people, which is a miracle in itself, but it also can create a space for exponential emotional processing to occur. The full expression of sexual emotion with another opens a pathway to process anger, sadness, fear, and joy in a way that heals, strengthens, unifies, and refines. And when one finds peace through the expression of emotion through the heart center in this way, creative power is unleashed. There is a reason that the role of creator is above the line. I believe that a healthy expression of these emotions within the bedroom leads to greater creation without. As a quick recap, it's good to begin to notice the 5 core emotions of anger, sadness, fear, joy, and sexual emotion, as well as the many shades of each in your body. Feel the waves and receive that wisdom. Now, I've invited a dear friend, Angela Pearson, on tonight to share a little about her journey and how emotional processing has helped her navigate her own ocean of emotion. Angela, are you with us tonight? Do you want to raise your hand?
Here, Krista.
Great.
Yeah. So thank you, Krista. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're great.
Fabulous. So like Krista said, I'm Angela Pearson and I'm a certified Optavia coach. I found Optavia about a year ago after realizing that I was in full-blown food addiction. And then just 6 weeks after I signed up to be an Optavia coach. And then in 4 months, I lost 40 pounds. So in the past, I was totally enslaved to negative emotions. And I was a frequent victim of emotional hijacking. Now, my reality is that it's becoming second nature for me to process my emotions and respond with more clarity and calm. I absolutely love this tool. The first time I really experienced the emotional processing tool was when my husband nonchalantly announced one day that he had accepted a job that would require us to move from our home of over 17 years without even really running it by me. And I was shocked and instantly infuriated. I remember leaving the room and spending hours with this tool. I searched for like thousands of emotions while I cried and ate my salad in my car. Eventually, I was able to express my emotions clearly and calmly to my husband, and we were even able to kiss and make up without all the familiar drama. I didn't know, well, I didn't hurt anyone, and I will have to say and admit, though, that I did do a ton of laundry during this. So yeah, it's all a learning process, right? So I also remember using this tool a second time on a particularly bad day. And then that same afternoon, visiting with a friend who was emotionally distraught. And as I listened to her, I didn't feel any pressure to talk about my problems. And then when she asked how I was doing, I was able to explain why I felt at peace with my own kind of impossible situation, and actually even share this tool with her. And she actually later became my first client, which that was super fun to watch how connected these two things are, eating, right, and our emotions. But so I've been through a lot of therapy. On a personal note, I've been through a lot of therapy, years with personal counselors, mentors, and professional programs developed by people like Brene Brown, and I'm currently working on my graduate degree as a medical family therapist. So in all of this, I have never seen anything so effective and precise at helping me understand, express, and learn from my emotions as I have here at Optavia. The tools that we use and teach here are invaluable.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Angela. Thanks for sharing with us tonight. And I agree with you. This emotional processing tool is so simple, but also so beneficial as we move forward in our health journeys. I encourage us all to listen more intently to our bodies. When we honor our bodies, they will teach us so much and add power to our thought work. When we vulnerably share our emotions with others, we will connect. Breakdowns really do have the potential to lead to breakthroughs if we process all of our emotion all the way through. So let's begin to catch our own judgments of ourselves and others, check in with how we're feeling, process those emotions while appreciating the waves, and then with wisdom, work on the thoughts that will help us mature emotionally. So learning to process emotion is just one aspect of lifelong health. Join us tomorrow evening for the Gift of Lifelong Health webinar, where we will discuss additional tools to help you progress in your journey. We're going to meet in the same Zoom room at 5:30 Pacific, 6:30 Mountain Time tomorrow. So make sure you get this on your calendar. You know, I will always appreciate Optavia for the path that it has provided for me to become the dominant force in my life. It's no wonder that it is now a billion-dollar brand and has affected over 2 million lives. We were named the second fastest growing company in the world by Fortune magazine in 2020, and we still need more people who want to reach into their communities to affect change in the health of this world. We are going to end our call tonight with some basics about starting your own turnkey coaching business. It may or may not be for you, but you will never know unless you look into it, right? So feel free to stay on and process some more emotion with us if you'd like. Otherwise, thank you for joining the Healthy Together time tonight, and we will see you next week.